Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Just as a quick reminder, this will be the last video for today. I have a dentist appointment to go to and they're going to numb up my mouth really good. So I probably won't be able to talk after that. So just FYI, letting all you know, this will be the final video for today, February 1st, 2024. So we're going to be talking about Yemen. I want to update all of you what's going on down there with the Houthis. We've got a lot of information that's come out in the last 24 hours. And as you can see here on your screen, the attacks continue. Okay, we've got multiple attacks. We got attacks on the USS Carney. We've got attacks on a cargo ship. We've got the U.S. launching more strikes inside of Yemen, taking out, I believe, UAV launch sites. Okay, so it looks like lately the Houthis have been using a lot of drones. Okay, I've been seeing lots of news coming out saying that the Houthis are all of a sudden they're starting to launch a bunch of drones now. They are still launching ballistic missiles, but before it was definitely a lot more ballistic missiles versus drones, and now we're seeing a lot of drones getting launched at warships, at cargo ships. So the Gulf of Aden is still under attack right now. We've got multiple ships that keep coming under fire in just the last week, and these warships, like especially the USS Gravely and the USS Carney, both of those keep getting under attack too. So the Houthis have come out and stated that they will continue to attack U.S. warships. They will directly attack U.S. warships and any ships, container ships in the Gulf of Aden or the Red Sea. And again, these attacks continue inside the Gulf of Aden, which I think is interesting. We're not really hearing anything about the Red Sea anymore. It's all about the Gulf of Aden. So definitely these Houthis are set up on the southern coastline and prepared to attack ships as they enter into the Red Sea. So I've got a press release here from Setcom. We're actually going to go over several press releases because there's been lots of information coming out. There's about 4 different press releases that came out in the last 24 hours. So let's go over these. U.S. forces strike and destroy Houthi surface-to-air missile. January 31st at approximately 3:30 p.m. Sanaa time. Okay, so this was the first attack. U.S. CENTCOM forces struck and destroyed a Houthi surface-to-air missile prepared to launch. U.S. forces identified the missile in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen and determined it presented an imminent threat to U.S. aircraft. So apparently there was a missile that was going to be launched at a U.S. aircraft. And this is the first time that I've heard of this. I've only heard of missiles being launched at ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. I haven't heard anything about them attacking aircraft. So that was pretty surprising to me when I saw that. I was shocked to see that an aircraft, or potentially a U.S. aircraft, may have been targeted or was about to be targeted before, the U.S. took out this drone or this missile, right? So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that with you. So this is the next thing that happened. All right. Houthi anti-ship ballistic missile and Iranian UAVs shot down in the Gulf of Aden. So we had ballistic missiles that were fired from the Houthis and Iranian UAVs that were shot down, okay, in the Gulf of Aden. So this was just about 5 hours later. Was the other one 3:30, I think, and this one was 8:30. So about 5 hours later on the same day, Iranian-backed Houthi militants fired one anti-ship ballistic missile from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen toward the Gulf of Aden. The missile was successfully shot down by the USS Carney. At 9:10 p.m., so what is it, 40 minutes later, the USS Carney engaged and shot down 3 Iranian UAVs. So even more of these drones being launched, right? So yeah, this was 3 more drones right here and a ballistic missile. So they are definitely starting to use more drones now. I'm noticing maybe a lot of their ballistic missiles have been damaged, or maybe they were in low supply, or they got destroyed by the American and UK airstrikes. And maybe they're dipping into their drone stockpiles a little bit, or maybe they just got a big shipment from Iran somehow. Who knows? But all of a sudden, we're starting to see a bunch of these attacks using drones, and these drones were used, in the past, in the last month or two. But we were definitely seeing a lot more ballistic missiles being used than drones. So here's the next thing that came out. All right, so CENTCOM self-defense strike against Houthi UAVs, excuse me, and ground control stations. So this is when the U.S. launched more strikes inside of Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. Okay, this was on February 1st, so just today, at 1:30 a.m. Sana'a time. U.S. Central Command forces conducted strikes against a Iranian-backed Houthi UAV ground control station and 10 Houthi one-way UAVs. So they took out 10 UAVs and a UAV ground control station. All right, U.S. forces identified the UAV ground control station and one-way attack UAVs in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen and determined that they presented an imminent threat to merchant vessels and the U.S. Navy ships in the region. U.S. forces subsequently struck and destroyed the UAV ground control station and 10 one-way attack UAVs in self-defense. This action will protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for U.S. Navy vessels and merchant vessels. So, as I've been saying to all of you, that this was going to continue. It's very obvious that this is going to continue, and we're going to be seeing this happening for quite some time. I know we had Biden coming out recently in the last month, and he was saying, "Hey, we're not going to be supporting this operation with Israel much longer." And he was even telling Netanyahu, "Hey, you need to wrap up your operations over here." But what is this? We're about to go into February now, and he was saying this like before the new year. I want to say he was saying this like middle of December, towards the end of December. He was telling Netanyahu, "Hey, you need to wrap up your operations down here, or we're cutting off, support for you." But we did the opposite. We've continued to support him, and in return of that, that's when this Jordan airstrike happened, or drone strike, excuse me, where we had these 3 troops killed in Jordan just a few days ago. So very terrible. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know who is to blame for these mistakes or what's going on here, but it's a big mess. It's a big mess, and we shouldn't be involved in this right now, but we are. So very important that we understand that. So CENTCOM update to events in the Red Sea. So this is the last update that came out today, February 1st, 2024. On February 1st at approximately 5 a.m., so a few hours later, U.S. Central Command forces engaged and shot down 1 UAV. So another drone was launched into the Gulf of Aden. This was just a few hours later after those strikes inside of Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. So there was no damage or injuries reported. Later the same day at approximately 10:30 a.m. Sana'a time, U.S. Central Command forces conducted strikes and destroyed an Iranian-backed Houthi explosive uncrewed surface vehicle. An uncrewed surface vehicle, interesting, in the Red Sea. U.S. forces identified the USV, the uncrewed surface vehicle, heading toward the international shipping lane and determined it presented an imminent threat to merchant vessels and the U.S. Navy ships in the region. U.S. forces subsequently struck and destroyed the USV in self-defense, resulting in significant secondary explosions. So this USV must have been armed with missiles or something like that, or some sort of explosive devices, and then whenever they blew it up, that's where these secondary explosions came from, I'm assuming. There were no injuries or damage reported. Then approximately at 10:45 p.m., so later that day, almost at 1 p.m. Sana'a time, 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles were launched from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen, likely towards the MV Koi. Okay, this is another commercial vessel in the Red Sea. Here we go, finally getting something attacked in the Red Sea. The missiles impacted in the water without hitting the ship. There were no injuries and no damage reported to the MV Koi or coalition ships in the area. MV Koi is a Liberian-flagged, Bermuda-owned cargo ship. U.S. Central Command's actions will protect freedom of navigation and make international waters safer and more secure for U.S. Navy vessels and merchant vessels. So with this MV Koi, okay, this Koi Bermuda-owned cargo ship that was attacked, okay, I've got an article here in just a second that I'm going to show you. The Houthis, again, are claiming that they hit this Koi ship, okay, this cargo vessel. Now, how many attacks has this been I want to say at least 4 or 5 attacks where the Houthis are claiming that they hit either a warship or a commercial vessel, something like that, and then immediately the US is denying it. I've been talking about this for quite some time now. I've put out several videos talking about this, and every single time the US is denying it. So here you go right here. Houthi Red Sea attacks. Group claims to have hit US container ship. So again, they're claiming that they hit another ship, but there's no confirmation coming out that it was hit. So let's kind of briefly go over this here. The Houthi movement in Yemen says it has struck a U.S. merchant ship, it named as the Koi, in the Red Sea in a fresh attack targeting commercial shipping. But 2 maritime sources told BBC verify that the Houthi claim was fake. Okay, so supposedly it was fake. U.S. and U.K. authorities are yet to say whether an attack took place, so they haven't said anything. All right, so security firm Ombre said a ship located south of Yemen reported a blast on its starboard but did not name it. Interesting. So meanwhile, the U.S. launches new airstrikes in Yemen. So this is about the drones that were hit and all that. So here's more information. This is the Koi, the Liberian flag container ship. All right, we just read that on the Setcom. And there was this Marlin Luanda that was attacked this past Saturday. Okay, so more ships are coming under attack. Okay, the Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Saree said on Wednesday that the movement's armed forces had targeted an American ship named the Koi with several appropriate naval missiles. The ship, he said, had been heading to the ports of occupied Palestine, a phrase which is sometimes used to mean Israel. However, industry publication Tradewind said that the claim was fake and that, in fact, a sick crew member had been taken off the ship in medical evaluation. So, yeah, again, we've got another report that I'm not sure why they keep saying this. I don't know if the Houthis are not able to 100% verify that they hit a ship. Maybe they think they do, and then they're like, oh, hey, we hit the ship, but maybe they didn't. Or it could be the other way around, where they really are hitting these ships, or they really are hitting these warships, and it's just a big cover-up, and it continues to happen, and maybe the U.S. is just denying it. Who really knows? We're not down there. We're not the U.S. military down there fighting this. I want to call it a war, basically, what's going on down there, but they want to call it self-defense. But we're not down there fighting this, and we're not there to witness these events. We're just here to report on the news that comes out, and you guys, kind of do your own due diligence and look into these things so we can all figure out what's really going on here. But, many of us can really just speculate at this point on what's really happening, because there's lots and lots of reports. I've put all these reports out on Yemen, okay, talking about all these attacks, and, we don't really know what's happening here. Are these ships actually getting hit? We do have some confirmed attacks, like the Marlin Luanda, that one got hit. But for the most part, a lot of these attacks are dismissed immediately. Right when the information comes out, it's dismissed. So, not really sure what's going on over here. So, I've got this other article that we'll kind of just briefly go over. This is about the Uss Carney shooting down anti-ship ballistic missiles from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen when they had those 3 UAVs shot at them, and then I believe that that ballistic missile that was shot. So I think the ballistic missile came first. 40 minutes later, as it says right here, was when these 3 UAVs came at the ship as well. So the U.S. successfully shot down a ballistic missile fired from Yemen, destroyed 3 Iranian drones that were near an American warship, and destroyed a Houthi ground control station and additional Houthi UAVs in a series of incidents spanning several hours, according to the United States Central Command. Okay, so Iranian-backed Houthis militants fired 1 anti-ship ballistic missile, okay, at 8:30, and then a few hours later, that's when the UAVs were shot. Okay, so that 40-minute span, this is the USS Carney right here. Okay, this is actually off of the coast of Greece here, as it says. But this is the Carney that's currently over there, that's been taking the bulk of the hits, really, or the attacks, I should say. The Carney has just been reported so much lately. The USS Gravely's been reported shooting down some of these, missiles and UAVs, but a lot of the action is really coming from the Carney here. So pretty nuts what's happening over here. Let's talk about this real quick too. We're just going to kind of briefly explain this. So apparently the EU, the European Union, has come together and decided they're going to launch their own Red Sea naval mission. Okay, so I'm assuming there's probably going to be more countries getting involved here. Just like we had the Operation Prosperity Guardian that was formed with the U.S. and multiple other countries, the Netherlands, the U.K., I think it was Bahrain, and multiple other countries, India, were getting together and helping form this coalition to protect the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea from these attacks. So it looks like this is how we know, to me, this is how we know right here that it's really impacting the global economy. The global economy has already taken a huge hit in just the last few months. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on a lot of countries, especially countries that are struggling right now, like Germany. Germany is really struggling economically. They're really struggling to pick their feet back up. Their manufacturing slumping. Lots of issues over there. So Europe is struggling. If Germany's struggling, Europe is going to struggle as a whole, because Germany is like the powerhouse for economic activity in that region. So this is how we know right here. This is a big sign. If the EU is having to come together and put together some sort of naval mission to go down there and help out the US and help protect these shipping lanes, that means two things here. Number one, it really is not cost effective for ships to go around Africa. Okay, so they can't just let the ships divert and go around Africa. So that's number one. Number two is that these ships are literally just going to go through the Red Sea no matter what. They got to force them through because of how badly it's affecting the economies. So these ships are going to go through here anyway, and they're going to set up this naval coalition to basically create an umbrella, a protection of an umbrella over these ships. And anytime these missiles or drones get launched from the Houthis, they're just going to shoot them down. But will it continue to be more effective than what we're seeing now? It's quite possible. But that just lets you know right there, because they say in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks they're going to be out there. That's how you know what's going on down here it's going to be going on for a while. Okay, we're going to be keeping these ships down there probably for the next several months, 3 months, 4 months, who knows, and just continue to shoot these missiles down. So I thought I'd share that with you. That's a big sign right there that we've got big problems coming, and this whole thing down here in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden is going to continue for quite some time. And in my opinion, the longer we stay down there, the more likely that something really bad is going to happen. Hopefully it never does. I hope a warship actually never gets hit, or a carrier gets hit, or you never know. You never know how these attacks will only continue to worsen. And what we saw just over the last 24 hours, this was quite a lot of strikes, okay, or attempted strikes, missiles being launched, drones being launched. Okay, so we're having a lot of attacks right now just in the last 24 hours. So things are definitely escalating. They're starting to get worse over there. And the Houthis, they said they will continue doing this. But I'm wondering if and when at some point the Houthis will just unleash, massive barrages instead of just a few little attacks at a time like we're seeing right now. I'm wondering if they're going to try to do more pretty soon. But, at that point, we will just see more airstrikes inside of Yemen. So it's getting very interesting over here, people. And, I understand that a lot of the direction of mainstream media is pushed towards Iran right now, which we should be watching Iran and seeing what's going on over there, because with U.S. President Joe Biden coming out and saying that they're ready to launch retaliatory strikes for that Jordanian military base, or it was actually a U.S. military base, but in Jordan. So because that drone hit the living quarters over there at that military base and killed a bunch of troops and wounded dozens of others, we're going to see a retaliation from Biden here probably pretty soon. He just basically designated the Islamic resistance in Iraq, that militia group that's Iranian backed. He designated him as the primary target because they were the ones that launched this attack. But remember, they are Iranian backed, just like the Houthis are. So if we go after this group over here, Iran has already said that any attack on their territory, or they even said some of their interests, and those interests could be this Iranian group. It could be many different things. So if the U.S. retaliates and goes after any of these groups, we could see some massive escalation, and we could see more escalation down here in the Red Sea as well. So keep your head on a swivel and pay attention to what's going on here, because the U.S. is really trying to keep this on the down low and make it seem like it's not really a big deal what's going on down here. But things are starting to spiral out of control, and at some point the U.S. may lose control of this conflict, and we may be forced to go to war with Iran, or many of these Iranian-backed militias. Okay, and anything could happen at any moment. I've been saying this for a while. There's going to be a catalyst at some point that's going to ignite this war, and that catalyst may have been that drone strike on that Jordan military outpost. So, just thought I'd share this with you and kind of get you up to date. But again, this will be my final video for today. Again, I got to go to a dentist appointment, and they're going to numb up my mouth pretty good, so I'm not going to be able to talk afterwards. So this will be the final video for today, final update. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be posting more updates as well. I also got a short coming out tonight. You guys can check that out. It'll be dropping here in just the next few hours. So thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Hope you all have a great night. Everybody stay safe and have fun out there. And we'll see you all in the next one. Everybody take care. God bless, and we'll see you later.